the matter.
Mr Speaker.
Well, the Honourable Ruth Dyson.
Well, that was very fortunate, given the introduction by my colleague Ian Lees-Galloway, that nobody else sought to compete for the call. Otherwise, that would have been a very puzzling bit of radio transmission for people to follow. Mr Speaker, I'm delighted to speak in this third and final reading on what may be the last contribution in the Christ's College Canterbury Amendment Bill. I want to make a couple of points. Firstly, I want to acknowledge the Select Committee for the rigour and the way they undertook this. My colleague Grant Robertson referred to the responsibility of people who are left alive to ensure that inheritances are as much as possible used for the purpose for which they were left. I do think that is a serious responsibility for us to take, and the bill as it was originally introduced was not quite tight enough in that regard, so I acknowledge that. I also want to acknowledge Grant's father, who did as many of our parents have done and left a scholarship for leadership skills. I think that is an important contribution that his father made for future generations, and I think it was a really good tribute to him that was acknowledged during the discussion in this House. I understand that the Select Committee had more advisers on the legislation than they had submissions. They only had one submission. They had two sets of advisers, one from Education and one from Justice, and I guess the clerks were from the Government Administration Committee. So the Select Committee itself was certainly well served, Mr Speaker. That's a very fine thing, and that's why we've ended up with this bill, which amends a 1910 piece of legislation to ensure that the property held by the school in trust is able to be used for slightly broader purposes than that was originally intended. That is a sensible resolution. It does mean that under the Charitable Trusts Act, the trustees don't have to apply to the High Court to approve a new trust process for any variation. This does now give them the flexibility that we have the confidence they will use wisely in the best interest of the school, its pupils and its future, and I commend the progress of this bill.
Members, the question is that the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary will say no. The ayes have it.
Christ's College Canterbury Amendment Bill, third reading.
Call